Okay, so I know this is really late.
Yeah, the episode you're reviewing aired 6 years ago, Saga.
But I only watched it 1 year ago. I think that gives me a unique perspective.
I had to practically drag you into this fandom, and now you want to do reviews.
Sure, why not?
Well, it's just that the final season of Friendship is Magic is half finished. Is anyone going to want to listen to you talk about something that happened back in season 3?
I don't know, but I want to say it, and you married me, so at least you have to listen.
I don't remember that being part of the deal.
It was in the fine print at the bottom. It's just below the clause stating that we're required to kiss at least twice a day.
Yeah, but that was my clause. How did I miss? Oh, I guess it does say that. Right here in the section labeled Acceptance of and Participation in Obsessive Fan Behavior.
Remember that next time you decide to get me involved in your fandoms. This one is all your fault.
Yep, I guess we're jumping on this bandwagon. One magical mystery cure coming right up.
Now bear with me a little bit. I have looked around at other reviews for this episode, so I know a lot of the fandom has strong opinions about it. The thing is, this is actually my favorite episode, and none of the reviewers, even the ones who did not hate it, none of them have talked about the aspect that made it my favorite episode.
That might be because they were so distracted by the songs.
That, and the Lavender Alicorn. Ooh, but let me get distracted by the music for a minute too, because that's something else no one seems to have said yet. So a lot of people are talking about how the opening song, just for instance, is kind of pointless and a bit saccharine, and they are totally right. But did anyone else notice how close it is to...
Oh, what a beautiful morning! Oh, what a beautiful day!
I mean, they even have the same meter. Watch. Morning in Ponyville shimmers, morning in Ponyville shines. I know for absolute certain, everything's certainly fine.
It also reminds me of this really torturous number from Into the Woods.
So happy!
Happy now, happy hence, happy ever after. We're so happy, you're so happy. Just as long as you stay happy, we'll stay happy.
So, pro tip, if your main character is singing about how happy they are and how wonderful everything is,
Something's about to go kablooey. Kudos to Mr. Ingram for setting up a musical episode with an homage to a musical.
for the rest of the music, well, at least for the montages in the first half, I think the point of presenting the problem and then the solution using music was to avoid being too repetitive. I mean, they were basically telling 2 episodes worth of story in one, so they had to rush anyway. But I suspect if they'd taken the time to have Twilight go around to all her friends and be all confused and horrified each time, it would have gotten kind of boring. And that's what musical montages are made for.
Yeah, getting from point A to point B with a song, it's like this. Transition! Transition! Ah, look at those poor little ponies. Trying so hard and failing so completely.
That was not very subtle.
But effective.
There is that, if you think it's effective to stir brownie batter with a jackhammer.
Ooh!
You see, there's just one thing that made this my favorite episode, and it isn't the music, or Twilight turning into a princess, or anything like that. It was this scene right here.
Applejack needs your help. She's trying hard, doing what she can. Would you try?
You like watching ponies cry too? I knew there was a reason I liked you.
What? No, of course not. Stop being so evil.
This is a world where your name basically describes who you are. But that is neither here nor there. We were talking about pony tears.
As I was saying, I know what it feels like to know you're bad at something, maybe even something you want desperately to be good at, to know that you're failing over and over and never getting any better, and to feel like you have no choice but to keep on doing it. For me, that scene communicated that feeling perfectly. You know how a lot of MLT episodes have a moral? Well, I think this is a big part of the moral for this episode. When you're in that situation, it would be great to have some pony come and take it all away from you, tell you that you don't have to keep trying. Sometimes that does actually happen, and it's a huge relief when it does, like in this episode. But what about when it doesn't? When you keep failing over and over, it's really easy to start to feel like a failure, like that thing you can't do defines who you are. When that happens, the light that shines from a true friend might not be some pony telling you you're doing the wrong job, or even taking the job away from you. Sometimes the help you really need is for a friend to remind you how much they value you as a person, whether you can sew a dress or not. And I think that was really the cure for the problem here. Yes, they got their cutie marks sorted out, but the catalyst for it happening was the desire to help, comfort, and uplift some pony just because she is a true friend. If you want the moral of the story, in my opinion, it's this. Knowing that some pony likes you for yourself, in spite of your failures, can help remind you of who you really are.
It is interesting to think about how much emotional endurance the main five have. I get the impression they all believed they had been failing at their destinies since the first Sonic Rain boom. That's years of this. On a daily basis. None of them gave up. They were all emotionally defeated, but they were still persistent.
Yeah, even when Fluttershy was getting on the balloon to leave, she was still trying to make Twilight and Spike laugh. It was pretty pathetic, but it was trying.
Yeah, she would have had more success roasting other ponies, but her nature, her kindness, was still part of her. It was just her destiny that changed. I think it bears mentioning, she didn't say she was giving up her destiny. She was just going home. And now I'm just trying to imagine the kind of conversations that Fluttershy would have with Zephyr Breeze. Fanfiction writers, to your...
There's probably already fanfiction about it somewhere.
That's true. We are pretty late to this bandwagon.
Yes! Everything's gonna be just fine!